Emails are the critical part of every automation whichever we write, because sometimes you start an automation where you have to read the emails, and once you are done with the automation you have to intimate the business user by sending the email. If there are any exception, you send the system exception email. So email becomes an important part for our automation. Welcome back to the email automation series with UiPath. My name is Mukeshkala, and today we are going to see how we can work with the inline attachments in the email. In the previous videos of the playlist, we have seen how I can read the emails, how I can send an email, how do I send email with Outlook, Gmail, SMTP, how do I get the credential, where do I get the port server, all of that we have already covered. And in the recent video, we have also seen that how do you work with attachments. However, there was a question which I got, that how do I work with inline attachment? Inline attachment simply means that if I have an email and I have to embed something in the email. Let's take an image as an example. I am sending an happy birthday email and I do not want to send the cake image as an attachment. Rather, I would like to attach in the body, right? So in this video, we are going to see what are the different ways of attaching a image inline inside the email. In case you are coming to the channel for the first time and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the latest videos in the series. Having said that, let's get started. Talking of the agenda, this would be our agenda for today. First of all, we are going to see how do you send inline images with Outlook. Then we are going to see how do you send inline images with SMTP. Both of that we are going to use the image SRC property, and I am going to show you that how different email provider are not able to render the images, and that is why sometime as a developer we are supposed to use something which is called Base64 and ByteArray. So in this video we are also going to see what is Base64, what is ByteArray, how do you use the Base64 and ByteArray to send the inline images in email. All of that we are going to see in a step-by-step manner, right? Also, whatever we discuss, code, everything in this tutorial, everything would be available on our website mukeshkala.com, where you can directly download all this code, everything, and practice along yourself, right? In the description of the video, you would have something which is called timestamp. At any point of time, if you want to jump to a specific section, please click on the timestamp in the description and the video should navigate to that part. Having said that, let's get started. Whenever we talk about inline images, I simply mean sending an email with an attachment embedded inside it. What do I mean? If you see this image which I have written from my Outlook to my Gmail account, and you would notice that the image is inside the mail body. It is not attached as an attachment. However, it is inside your main body. Okay, so I am back into my UiPath Studio. First thing first, whenever you are doing the email automation, as discussed in the previous videos, we need to have this UiPath.mail.activities package available in our automation. If we do not have this, we won't get the activities. Okay. Now, when I say inline images, we always need to create an HTML that how that email is going to render in the mail body. Now some of you might not understand what exactly is the email, how can I create that structure, what will I copy paste. I can show you an easy way. Okay, you just go to Google and search for image tag HTML, and you would get a lot of websites. I personally like this W3 images, so I click on this one. As you can see, I have already visited HTML images, right? And here you would see there is a button which says try it yourself. I click on it, and as you can see that if I want to have something like this, where I want to have HTML image and I want to have a photo which is embedded, I need to use this HTML. Okay, absolutely simple. Let's say you want to have an email where you want to have some text which is bold. You can make it to H1, H2. You can do all the customization here, and once you are ready with this final HTML, that becomes your body of the email. Okay, so the first thing first, whenever you have to do an inline images, you need to have something which is called HTML, and you can write it yourself, but you can generate it from this website also. Okay, so let's say for us, I want to have this one as happy birthday, and I say run. So this becomes my code, right? You can do the font manipulation, you can put your signature, everything you fix it here. Then you just do a Ctrl+C copy and you paste it in a notepad file like this. Okay, see what I have done is here I have just put my website here, right? Everything apart from is exactly same from this thing, right? Now one thing to notice here is that image src means the source of the image. As of now, this pic_truly is this image. In case I want to have it with a different path, you would require to have the complete path of the image here. So that's why what I have done is, while I was copy pasting, if you compare, I have just removed this thing and I have put it here image path. Okay, now what is this image path? This image path would be the complete path of the image which you want to embed in this place. Okay, so that's a simple HTML template I have created, and I have made use of W3 schools, right? So I'll close this guy, and this becomes my mail template which start from HTML, image src. The only thing which we want to change is this thing, and then we want to send an email. Okay, so I'll save this mail template, and let me go here and I'll create a new sequence, and I'll call this as inline mail with Outlook. Okay, I have already Outlook installed on my computer, as you can see here, which means that I have the license, so that means I can use send Outlook mail message. I have already discussed all of this in the previous video, that when to use which activity, so not spending much time here, but quickly I am telling you that since I have already Outlook installed, I can use the send Outlook. In the next part, I am going to use my Gmail account, that also I will show, right? So I am using this activity which is called send Outlook mail message activity here. Okay, this guy is asking me, whom do you want to send an email? And the good part about this thing is, we do not have to configure all of these details, right? That we have already discussed. So whom do we want to send? So let's say I want it to send to my new account which we have been working. So I'll put my Gmail account which is tutorialsbymukeshkala@gmail.com, right? What should be the subject? Okay, so I would put a subject so that all of us can see it. Okay, so I would say that this is an inline image, and I would mark it as 001. Okay, so I would write, let's say, inline image session maybe. Okay, and in the body I would write, this is from Outlook to Gmail, and in the CC let's put the Outlook account. Okay, so we would be able to do multiple testing, right? So I am sending an email to my tutorials by Mukeshkala, inline image, this should be the body, and in the CC of the email here, right, I am trying to copy my other account which is an Outlook account, mukeshkala@outlook.com. Okay, so at a time this email will go to these two mail IDs. Now how do I attach the file? If I click on this file, attach file, which we have seen, it will be sent as an attachment, but we want to do an inline images, right? So now for that, what we have to do is, before that here, if you see, before this email, I want to read this template, which is the mail template. So we need to read this template and we need to instruct this activity that whatever I am sending you, this is an HTML, and we have to replace this image with the image path whichever we like. Okay, so let's do one thing. First we will read this mail template. Okay, so that's a Word file. So to read that, sorry, that's a text file. So to read that, we are going to use something which is called read text file activity. Drag and drop it here. Where is your file? I'll go here and I'll directly go to the place where I have kept the file. It's in my D drive, data, in the data inputs. Here is the mail template. Okay, so D data greeting robot data, there is a mail template. Now whatever this thing will give, I want to store it in a template. So I would say Ctrl+K str_template. Now here what would happen, all the content of this is in a string variable which is called template. Now the only thing I have to do is I have to replace this thing, right? Remember in the W3 schools it was the actual path of the image. Okay, now in my folder I have this mail template and I have got a folder which is called images, which is having a lot of birthday images, right? So let's try to pull this purple balloon. The name of the image is 2. So I'll just copy the complete path. Okay, copy as path. You should always provide the complete path of the image. You should not only put 2.jpg, right? How would UiPath know where is 2.jpg? Whether it's in your D drive, C drive, E drive, F drive. So complete path of the file would be required. Okay, so I'll go back to my project and here after this is read, I'll simply use an assign activity, and in this assign activity I would say whatever template you have read. Okay, so I'll just maximize it so that you can understand. Okay, so whatever data you have in the template, which is this complete. Okay, from the template data dot replace is a string function. So dot replace. Now replace what? Replace what? So replace this underscore image path. I'll copy this. In the double quotes I'll put this. So I am instructing UiPath to replace this image path. I'll put a comma and then it is asking me for the new value. What is the new value? So here in the double quotes we need to pass the complete path of the image here in this double quote. Okay, so I'll go back again and I'll just take this purple image, copy as path, go back here and paste it, right? Now as you can see, what we have done is we are telling UiPath that whatever template you have got, replace this underscore image path with this image. Okay, now when you are writing a real-time automation, you can take this in a string variable, replace the string here, right? Or you can run it in a loop, keep putting new images, right? All of that is your logic, right? So this is how this replace work. Now what would happen when this activity will run? This str template would have all these value, everything would be same, only this image path will have the complete path of that purple image. Okay, now this email has to be in the body. Okay, but in the body I have already written something, so let me just cut this from the body and I'll paste it in the subject. Okay, so that's way we'll understand. So this is my subject now, guys. My email subject is this is from Outlook to Gmail, and in the CC we are putting to Outlook. Now in the body of the email, right? What do you want to have in the body? In the body I want to have this thing, complete thing, right, with the image, and that is now in this variable which is called str template. So in the body I'll simply mention str template. That's it. Now a question arises, how would this activity know whether this is an HTML? So we'll go to properties, and in here you would have an option which is called is body HTML. specify whether the body of the message is HTML or not. I say yes, and now this would be rendered as an HTML. Okay, I'll save this. I'll go here and I will say run the file. Okay, so now here I am using my Outlook account, which is by default. The automation completed in 1 second, and now I should have received the emails. Okay, now as you can see, this is from Outlook to Gmail CC. Okay, I have received it on my Gmail and I should have it on my Outlook account as well, right? But as you can see here, it is showing that we are not able to download. So you can just click on this and you say download the pictures, and you can see that this image is embedded in my Gmail account, and in the CC I have marked my Outlook account as well, right? This is my Outlook account, which is opened on a browser, right? So this is my Outlook account, mukeshkala@outlook.com. If I click on this, here you would notice that it is not able to render the image in the browser, right? So this Outlook account, which is this one, mukeshkala@outlook.com, it has got the same email. This is from Outlook to Gmail, CC to Outlook. Everything is there, but the image is not getting rendered. So I'm not able to get this image here. Okay, so that is where I have the second way of sending the inline images, which is using the Base64. Next in this tutorial, we are going to see how do I use the Base64 to send an email, and expectation would be that we should be able to see the image in here. Okay, so that would be our next agenda. So with this automation, I have noticed that when I was sending with an Outlook account, I was able to see it in the Outlook account, but I was not able to see it in the browser of the Outlook, right? Now a question arises, can we try the same thing not by Outlook but by an SMTP, which is by using a Gmail server or any other thing, right? Let's try that quickly. I'll go here, I'll create a new sequence. I'll call this inline image underscore Gmail, right? And the same automation now I want to do with the help of Gmail, right? So I'll quickly copy these two from here, Control C and Control V. Okay guys, not spending much time here because we have already created the workflows. So I'll create this variable, exactly the same automation. Okay, the only difference is instead of Outlook, now this time I want to use SMTP, send SMTP mail message. Okay, now send SMTP is going to ask us for the server and the port, right? So in the previous video we have seen that how you can use the Gmail, so not spending much time again here, right? So the server would be this, the port would be 587. Okay, now you have to actually provide your Gmail credential here, right? Email ID and the password, and the best way to do is using your credentials, right? So I'm going to use an activity which is called get credentials. Sorry, my bad. Get credentials, right? Because I have put my actual password in my orchestrator, right? And I'll go and I put it here, right? So Gmail does not allow you to send direct emails. You need to have an app password. That is what we have discussed in the previous video. So that app password, I have put it in my admin folder in this asset, which is the Gmail SMTP credential, right? And the output of this we are going to use in this activity. Okay, so a feature of UiPath latest edition I'm going to show you. When you go to get credential, right, it is already storing this in these variables, so you no need to create variables. UiPath will automatically create it, right? So whenever you have to use such thing, I want to go to orchestrator, I want to get my credential, which is my actual Gmail user ID and the password, and whatever you get in the email, just click on this plus button, use the variable from the get credential username, and in the password use the variable password, right? So you save a lot of time in creating variables and all, right? Now whom do you want to send an email? I'll quickly go and copy paste this same thing, that I want to send an email to tutorials by Mukeshkala. Okay, in the body it would be again the str template. Now in the subject I want to mention that this is from Gmail to Gmail, and in the CC I am putting an Outlook account. Okay, so in the CC, let me quickly go to the properties, and here in the CC I'll put my Outlook account. So I'll go here and I say mukeshkala@outlook.com. I'll save this, go here and run the file. Okay, we'll just wait for the execution. So for Gmail guys, we need to have the app password. It's in my orchestrator and I can see that it was successful. Okay, let's quickly validate. And I have got this because we forgot to mark the body as HTML, right? So this happens when you do not mark the body as HTML. Okay, I'll quickly go back again here. I'll go to this properties, and here I would say that is body HTML. Save this, go here and run the file. Okay, I can see it took 7 seconds to complete. Let's quickly validate. Now in my Outlook account, if you notice, from Gmail to Gmail still not able to see the image, from Outlook to Gmail I'm still not able to see the email. But let me check the Outlook as well. Now here you can see that I was able to see this when I am sending it from my Gmail to the Gmail, CC to Outlook, and it is visible here. So that means that whenever I am looking it in the Outlook app, it is visible, but it is not visible on the browser. So that is where our next approach comes, which is called the Base64, that how you can utilize the Base64 to send an image. Before directly jumping into the code, we as a developer need to understand what we are coding, right? So that in future if we have to fix something, at least we know what and where to look the solution for. Okay, so the next solution to inline images is called the Base64 String, and we are going to use the combination of Base64 plus ByteArray, right? So first we need to understand what exactly is a Base64. So Base64 is a binary to text encoding scheme, which simply means that I can store the image, audio, video files in the form of non-text data as string. So if I have some data such as a image, a photo, an audio file, and I want to store that thing in a string of ASCII characters, I can use the Base64. Now a question arises, if I have an image, if I have an audio file, why would I like to convert it to an ASCII character? And the reason for that is that so that you can easily transmit it to the other formats such as email, XML, JSON, URLs, right? So let's say as an example, you are hitting an API, and from the API you are expected to get an image. Now the API cannot give you directly the image. Rather, the API will give you something which is called Base64 string, and then as a developer you need to convert that Base64 to an image or to an audio or any other format, right? Now that is why Base64 is important. In the Base64 you would have uppercase, you would have lowercase, you will have digit, and you would have a few special characters. And at the bottom in the green you see that is a sample of Base64. The actual Base64 looks very big than this, but you need to understand this is how the Base64 looks like. This encoding process involves breaking down of the binary data into 6-bit chunks and mapping those chunks to the corresponding characters in the Base64. Now an important thing to remember, Base64 encoding do not means that you are encrypting the data or any security, right? You should not think that okay, I have converted the image to a character or I have converted the image to a string, so that my data is encrypted, right? Anybody can easily reverse the data, right? So it is nothing to do with the security. It is just used to transmit the data. Now to give you more examples that why exactly we require base64, the first thing is data transmission. Whenever we transmit data from one source to the destination, such as email, HTTP, API response, it is always advisable to use with the help of this rather than the actual image, so that you do not face any encoding issues, special character mismatch, and all of these things. The second thing is URLs. Sometimes you have URL and you want to send an URL, and different browser might interpret it differently. So in case I want to make the actual URL safe, I can convert the URL to a base64 and then transfer that base64. Data storage in databases, data presentation, API and web services, right? So I want you guys to take a pause for at least 5-10 seconds. Please go through this point so that you understand what exactly is base64 and where can we use it. Okay. Once you are done reading this, the next thing is something which is called ByteArray. Remember the concept of array, where we say that array is a fixed size sequence collection of elements having the same data type. ByteArray is also same used in programming languages. When we have binary data like images, file, or any other information, we can use ByteArray to store and manipulate it. Base64 encoding for text representation also use the ByteArray. Sometimes we need to transmit or store the binary data in text-based format, and we might not be able to handle the binary data well. This is where the base64 come in picture. Base64 encodes the binary data into the text format into a set of characters so that we can use it in the text-based context, right? So whenever we are working with the base64 string, ByteArray is a critical part of it. Okay. Now if you see here, you have an image and you have an base64 string. Okay, so this is how the base64 look like. So this is an image, this is our channel logo. If I have to convert to that a base64, that is how you will get it, right? Now a question arises, can I actually convert any image in base64? The answer is yes, right? Let me quickly show you, and this is interesting. You can just go to Google and search for convert image to base64, and in the Google you will get a lot of websites, right? So let me quickly go to this one, image to base64. Here it is asking me to upload an image. Okay, let's quickly upload an image I have in my data greeting robot, data images, birthday images. Let's try to put this cake. Okay, number 6. And now you would notice that for this image, this is the base64 string, and also it is giving us the HTML code. So in case you want to use it inside an HTML, I have to use this thing, and this is your actual base64 code where this image is converted to a base64 string. You can copy this, put it in a notepad file, and this becomes your base64 string for that happy birthday image. So when the image is not displayed, I can actually use this technology. Now, how do I know whether this text, whatever I have created, is correct or not? So you have something which is called base64 to image. Okay, I'll go to a new thing which is called base64 to image. Enter the base64 string here. So if you have a base64, you can copy this, paste it here, and you can see that the same image is available for me to download now, right? Why I am showing you this? Sometime whenever you are running an automation and you get a base64, now you want to see what exactly is that image, right? Because I don't know what is this image, and you want to test whether UiPath is correctly able to identify the image or not, whether the image is properly loading, right? Sometime when you are sending an email and let's say the base64 does not have few characters like this, now you would see something like this in the UiPath Studio or in the email, right? How as a developer you are going to know whether it's an issue with this thing, whether it's an issue with your code, right? So at least you should know to validate how do you check the base64, right? So you simply can copy the base64 into any of the online website and it should give you the image. I hope that is clear. That is image and that is the base64. Now when it comes to the send mail steps with base64, these would be the 4 steps. First we get the path of the image. We already have it, d:\data, whatever path you have. Read the content as ByteArray. Okay, so whatever content you have in image, you can read it as in ByteArray. I hope now you remember what is ByteArray from the previous lessons. Once you have the ByteArray, you convert the ByteArray to base64 string, and then whatever you have in the base64, you pass that to the email body. Okay, so that's why I was telling you that complete thing. First you get the path, convert it to ByteArray, ByteArray to base64, and then base64 goes into the email body. Okay, so this is the other way of sending an inline image. Let's see that in action in UiPath. Okay, so I'll close this one and let's go here and try to create a new sequence. I'll call this sequence as inline base64, right? That's what we are going to do. Okay, so now the first thing first is, if you remember the step, the first step was to get the path of the image. Okay, so I'll go to the activities. I'll take an assign activity here. I'll call this as image path. Okay, and in here we are going to pass the actual path of the image which we want to use. Okay, so I'll go to my folder and in the images, let's try to use this balloon image. Okay, number 4. So I'll say copy as path and I'll pass the same thing to my variable. Okay, now here I am hard coding the image path. Okay, but in the real-time automation we are not going to hard code anything. This would be stored in a variable. You can get it from a data source, from the folder, you can take a screenshot or anything, right? So as of now, just for this inline attachment I am hard coding it. So I'll go and I'll create this variable. I think it's not created, so I'll again create it. Okay, so we have got the image path. The next step was to convert this image path to a Byte64 array. How do you do that? So I'll again take one more assign activity and I need to convert this image to a byte array. So in the statement you have to mention this system.io, okay, dot I want to read a file, so I say file, right, which is an image file. Then I put a dot and I say that read all bytes. And which file? It's saying that path as a string. Where is your image path? So our image path in my variable which is called image path. And that's it. And if you notice that the output of this variable is a byte array. Okay, so system.io.file read all bytes and image path. So here we are reading the image as byte array. So now I hope you remember what exactly are we referring to byte array from our previous discussions, right? So this is the syntax. I'll say okay. Now here I would create a variable. I'll hit Ctrl+K and I call this variable as byte array. Okay, in the variables the byte array is not a string, it should be a byte array. So I'll go here in the drop down, you have something which is called array of t. Select this and in this here where it says t integer, change it to byte. How do you get byte? You just click on the last one which is called browse for type and write here system.byte and you should get this one, system byte, and I hit OK and OK, and this error should be gone now. Okay, so system.io.read file, what we are doing here, image to ByteArray. Okay. Now to use it, you remember we have to create something which is called Base64 String. So I'll again go here. I'll take one more activity and I'll create a variable called Base64 String. Now, how do you create Base64 out of the ByteArray? That's absolutely simple. You just go here and you write convert dot to Base64 string, not the character array. I want to convert it to string, and in the bracket it is asking for ByteArray. Now where is the ByteArray? Here is your ByteArray, the same variable from the step number 2, and I'll click on save, and that way I am getting the Base64 string. So here you have got the Base64 string. Okay, I'll correct this spelling. Yeah. Now, before I directly pass this Base64 string, I want to test whether the Base64 is working or not. Whether my code is able to create the Base64 or not, right? Because otherwise, how would I know? So to quickly test that, what I can do is I'll go to the activities. I'll use an activity called something write to file, write text file, this one. Okay. Where do you want to have the file? I would say that I want to file it in text.txt, test.txt, and in that I want to write the Base64, right? I can always run it in the debug mode and get the string from here, but Base64 string sometimes is very long that the UiPath output panel is not able to accommodate. That's why it is always safer to write it in a text file and then validate it. Okay, I'll do a Ctrl+S. I'll go here and I would say run the file. Now what we are trying to do here is we are trying to get the Base64 of that image, which is this image. Okay, and we have written it to test.txt. I'll go to the project, hit a quick refresh. Let me go to the folder test. I'll open this, and here is the Base64. Control A, Control C. Now how do I know whether this Base64 is correct or not? So most of you might have guessed it correctly. Just take it to the browser, right? I'll go back to the browser. I'll paste whatever I have generated, and as you can see that I am getting the same balloon image, which means that if I use this Base64 in my automation, I should be able to get this image, right? So that is how you validate. As an RPA developer, it is a good practice that you keep testing your code in between so that you don't get surprises at the end, specifically on these conversions. Okay, so now I have quickly validated that my Base64 is getting converted to an image. Now all that is required is to send this as an attachment. Okay, now to send in as an attachment, previously I was using this one, where I was directly passing the image path, remember, in the SMTP. But now I have converted that image to a Base64. So I cannot use this HTML to send that email because this is expecting an image path. And now what I have is a Base64. So you cannot use this syntax. Okay. Now the syntax would be a bit different, which would look something like this. Everything is the same. HTML, body, hello, happy birthday is the same. This is regards, this is my name, right? All of this is exactly the same. The only change is in this src, where previously I was passing the complete path of the string or the path of the image. Now I have to pass the Base64 string. But how would HTML know that, Mukesh, you are passing a Base64? So we have to write the syntax, which is data, put a colon, image. I am telling HTML that I have a data which is in image format. The format of the image is JPG. If you are sending a PNG, change it to PNG. Then put a semicolon and then put a base 64. So this, whatever I have highlighted, this is your syntax to tell HTML that you are going to send a base 64 string. Now once you have told it, HTML is going to ask you where is the string. So put a comma, and here, which I have highlighted now, the base str, here you are going to put the actual string which we just put here. So if I just copy paste this complete thing here and I run this page, you would get the complete image along with this HTML. Now this is the syntax which we are going to use for base 64. Okay, your previous one will not work. And if you notice this, I have kept it in this file which is called 2.txt, right? Now the same concept will apply here. Once you have written it to the text file, I don't require because this was just for the testing, so I'll delete it. Now I can go to the activities. We'll just read the text file. Now everything exactly is the same. Read the text file. Where is your text file? My text file is in my d:data. Here data inputs 2.txt. Open it. Whatever I get, I will get it in the template, right? So I'll hit Ctrl+K and I'll create a variable called template. That's it, right? Now this template would have this information and we need to replace this. So as in the previous example, I was replacing it with the image path. This time I'll take assign activity, and this time I'll say that replace it with the base64 string. So I am telling whatever you have in the template dot replace. Now old value, what is the old value? Oh, not this one, sorry. The old value is this base underscore base str, right? That is just a variable I have created in the HTML. Now what do you want to replace it with? You can put that complete HTML base64 string. However, we have that already in this variable which is called base64 string. Now when this code will run, what would happen? This base64 string, which is having all this complete data, would be replaced in this place. Okay, so I can close this one, I can say save, and this we are going to store it in the same variable str template. Now we have the template which is having the HTML along with the image embedded. Now the only thing remaining is to send it in an email. Okay, so I'll quickly go to the project and I'll open the same inline Gmail XAML which we just created, right? And I'm going to copy paste these two activities. Okay, not spending much time there again because we just created it, right? So I'll just paste it here. I am asking UiPath to get me the credential for my Gmail which I have stored in the orchestrator. It is going to give me in these two variables. Username and the password from get credential will come into send SMTP. Go to the properties, and in here I'll just change the variable to get credential username, and here also I'll say use variable get credential password. Okay, so this username password are passed here, and now in this same send SMTP everything is exactly the same, right? The only thing which we have changed is the str template, which now has the new template with the image as the base64, right? So what we are doing here, let me quickly check. We are sending it to tutorials by mukeshkala@gmail.com, and I guess we are, yes, in the CC we are marking outlook.com, right? Previously when I was sending, I was not able to see the image in the Outlook, but I was able to see it in the Gmail, right? Now to differentiate, in the subject it is from Gmail to Gmail, but it is from base64. So I'll just write here base64. so that we guys understand directly from the subject that yes, this is coming from Base64 and the image is a balloon image, right? I'll save this, and you should also get happy birthday, by the way. Okay, I'll save this, I'll go here and I will say run the file. Okay, if everything works as expected, we should get the happy birthday image in this new template, and we should be able to see it in the Outlook as well. Okay, so we'll just wait for the automation, and I think it is completed. Okay, so we have sent it to tutorials by Mukeshkala and the Outlook account, right? First go to this Gmail account and let's see if it is there or not. And as you can see that I have got this email which says Base64 from Gmail to the Gmail, tutorials by Mukeshkala, happy birthday, and the balloon image which we have encoded, right? Now previously in the Outlook I was not able to see that, right? Let me quickly go back to my Outlook account, which is this. And now here if you see, previously the previous one where was Gmail to Gmail, this image was not visible here, right? To differentiate I have put this here, but the new one which is this hello happy birthday, and this image is embedded, and with the help of Base64 now this account is able to identify this thing, right? Tutorials by Mukeshkala sent to this Gmail and in CC this one, right? So these are the two ways how you can embed an image into an email, right? So let's have a quick recap. Okay, so today we have seen how you can embed an image. The first we have seen with the help of Outlook. We can simply create a template and we can use Outlook. The Outlook was able to render the image directly with the help of _source. No issue there, right? The next one which we have seen was the Gmail, okay, where we were able to send an email from the Gmail to the Gmail CC in the Outlook, but Outlook was not able to render that image. So that is where sometime as a developer you need to use the Base64 or the inline images. That is why in the third option what we did, we created something which is called inline Base64, right? Now all of this, the important thing which you guys need to remember is that different mail servers render the image differently, right? So depending on your condition you might use any of those, and you should be able to embed the image inside your Gmail, Outlook or the web Outlook account. Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video, and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.